true colors with Kodacolor Gold Film. And by Texaco System 3 gasoline. After 5 tanks, it gets even better. Well, the Capitals and the Rangers ready to go here in Game 4 of the Patrick Division final round, and complete domination. The key word the other night in Game 3 is the Caps beat the Rangers 7-1 to take a 2-1 lead in this series. Good evening, everybody. Mike Foran's your play-by-play host, along with Al Koken. That sort of domination, Al, is one thing the Rangers will be determined not to let happen again, and they might go to certain extremes to keep it from happening.
Well, they've got to get more physical, and that just doesn't mean fighting. It means hitting people, checking strongly, and I think the most important factor, start getting to the front of the Capital net while you keep the Capitals away from your net. The Capitals have dominated the front of both nets in the last 2 games, and that has been the story.
Capitals coach Terry Murray is standing by downstairs right now with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. Terry, can the Capitals play any better than they played the other night?
Well, Jeff, I couldn't go into the go into the dressing room and say, guys, I want to change anything there. As far as systems or emotion or intensity, it was a very well played game by all players. Defensemen moved the puck well, forwards finished their checks. There was a lot of good contact down deep that created a lot of offensive opportunities. So I guess my answer is no.
What can we expect from the New York Rangers tonight?
Well, the New York Rangers are a wounded animal right now, Jeff, and I expect them to come out with a lot of emotion, or really to come out to even this series up. They do not want to go back to New York down 3-1, and they're going to pull out all stops. They're really going to come at us offensively, and I think we're going to have to be on our best game in order to keep everything at an even keel here at the start of the game.
I guess we're looking now, we talked earlier of Dino Ciccarelli, now perhaps some extra attention paid to John Druce. The Capitals looking for some scoring elsewhere tonight.
Well, we'd love to get the scoring spread around, absolutely. Dale Hunter's played very well. Jeff Courtnall scoring some goals. Stephen Leach, I'd like to see him continue on where he left off last game with a nice goal, and continue to do some good things down there. And if we can continually spread that scoring out, Jeff, you know, the loss of Dino Ciccarelli is not going to be felt as much.
Key, obviously, tonight in this first period will be the defense in front of Mike Liu.
We have to play well defensively, and in order for any team to have success in the playoffs, you have to play solid team defense. And certainly the guys that we have in the blue line with Stevens, Lineway, Rouse, Hatcher, they're doing a tremendous job out there. Neil Sheehy's playing his role, Callie Johansson's contributing, so the key is on those guys, but in turn it's got to be a team defense.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks, sir.
Caps coach Terry Murray back upstairs to Mike.
Well, these New York Rangers have some of their injured players starting to heal, and the first of them returns tonight in Mark Hardy.
And he could be a key man. Mark Hardy is a veteran defenseman. He's got some size, he's physical. But one of the things about Mark Hardy that you don't really know unless you watch him, one, he's got a very nice touch on his outlet pass. And that has been a big problem for the Rangers, just merely breaking out of their own zone. The other thing, he's got a pretty good shot from the point. He'll see some power play time, and the Rangers feel they need to get their power play going. But I think the most important thing, as I said before, they have to keep the Capitals away from the front of the net, and you got to look to a guy like Norman Rochefort. The Caps have been trying to key on Rochefort. A lot of times Dale Hunter's been out there when Rochefort's there. Hunter and Rochefort, former teammates in Quebec. They know how each other plays, and Hunter the other night on a couple of the John Druce goals really did the work in front, almost like a blocker. One of those goals in particular, he literally just blocked Rochefort away from the loose puck, allowed Druce to pick it up and score into the empty net. So guys like Norman Rochefort, another veteran, a guy like Ron Drescher, these guys have to be more physical in front of the net. They've got to keep it clear for Mike Richter in goal tonight.
With the injuries that the Capitals have, they're going to have to look for scoring other places, just like they did the other night, and they were successful.
Well, they've got a couple guys rolling, hopefully, and Mike Ridley and Jeff Courtnall. You know, you talk about the value of these guys. You certainly have got to say that Courtnall has certainly become a key man as the series has gone on. He's now got 4 goals and 6 assists. That's terrific totals. Only Dino Ciccarelli and John Druce have better overall point totals than Jeff Courtnall. And, of course, Mike Ridley, so valuable in so many different ways now. He's out there centering between Stephen Leach and Kelly Miller, of course, so the Capitals look for him to perform that grinding role with that line. They look him to shut down some of the top centers. They look for him to key the power play, and like the other night, to be out there in key penalty-killing situations. And remember, one of the biggest goals in the game was scored by Mike Ridley while shorthanded. So Ridley is out there in all situations, gets a ton of ice time. I think his ribs are feeling a little bit better, but this man is going to be, I think, the most important Washington Capital. Without Cicerelli in the lineup, I think how Mike Ridley goes, the Capitals will go.
Okay, there won't be an empty seat in this building tonight as the Caps and Rangers are ready to face off for Game 4. Let's turn it over now to public address announcer Marv Brooks.
You all please rise and join Glenn Cunningham in singing our national anthem.
So gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Refereeing tonight's game here at the Capitol Center will be Dennis Morrell. The linesmen are Wayne Bonney and Ron Finn. The alternate official is Terry Gregson. The off-ice officials are from Long Island, where they normally staff New York Islander games. Mike Richter gets the call again in goal. They come back with him. 3-1, the lone loss suffered in Game 3. A 3.33 average so far, and Van Beesbrook will back him up. Washington goes to Mike Liut, who came on and did such a fine job in relief of Beaupre early in the game the other night. 2-2 in the playoffs, a 3.91 average, and Jim Hribnak is the backup goalkeeper summoned from Baltimore in the American Hockey League. Dale Hunter at center ice, all set to work here against Darren Turcotte. Hunter gets the draw. Game 4 is underway. The puck cleared back into the Washington zone, and here is Hatcher to get it. Hatcher works it left side out to center ice, and now Druce takes it across the blue line. Mark Hardy's got the stick on him. Drop pass, Kortnall. He shoots it wide of the net. Now back into the corner again, and here is Hatcher jammed up on the play. Taken by Turcotte, cleared to the point. Hatcher keeps it in. He gives to Kortnall. Kortnall hangs on along the sideboards and has it worked off his stick all the way out to center, and Hatcher fires it into the Ranger zone, and it goes over the glass and into the seats.
Well, Mike Richter getting another chance. It's funny, when we talked about him in the game, he had given up 7 goals in that contest, but I thought he played a very good game, as the Capitals were outstanding with the shot total they had. When you look at all the numbers that Mike Richter, all those shots he had a base, I can see why Roger Nielsen would want to go back to him. But he's made some changes in front of him, and he needs to get better discipline in terms of his defensive play. And of course, the Rangers have got to finish off their chances and get more of them. They can't just go with 19 shots on goal, the total they had the other night.
Puck cleared in behind the Ranger net. Richter stops it now. Kelly Miller in to throw a hit. The puck cleared to the corner. Here's Ridley to try and dig it loose. Ridley slid to the corner. Now hastens after it. Brings it back to the point. Leach, a shot. Hit the post. Steve Leach hit the goal post to the right of Richter with his drive from just inside the blue line. Now we have a penalty call coming up. The first of the game. This will be elbowing. And it looks like Randy Moeller is headed off the ice after tying up just inside the Ranger blue line. And that'll put Washington out on the power play.
Leach makes his move into the zone. You see how high Randy Moeller gets his elbow. Right there, he could have certainly just lowered the shoulder and ripped him on the body with a good hit, hard check. There you see Richter being screened by his defenseman in front, and that drive from Leach just inches away from putting the Capitals in front. The Capitals, of course, every playoff game they have won in this series and with the New Jersey series, they were the team that scored the first goal. When they didn't, they lost.
Washington went 3 for 9 on the power play in Game 3, and altogether 21% in the playoffs. The penalty killing for New York at 78% so far during their series with the Capitals and the New York Islanders. Short-handed, it's Jan Eriksson across the blue line. Hatcher is in to hook him, and now the puck sent to the side of the net. Scott Stevens right there to take it back, and here comes Stevens to center. 4-on-3 at the blue line. The play broken up, and Eriksson charges back for New York. Jan Eriksson tries to lead a pass for Turcotte into the corner. It's played by Stevens, and he bounces it off the boards all the way back inside the Ranger zone. Rochefort back for it and stops behind the net. He's bumped on the play by Steve Leach, who hit the post moments ago. And now the puck covered only by the Rangers' Rochefort. Dennis Morel stops play with 1:23 remaining in the Moeller penalty.
The Capitals with the power play have improved their ranking. Certainly the 3 shorthanded goals they've given up in the playoffs has hurt that, but right now they're coming in the 5th overall mark of the playoff teams at 20.5%. And that certainly would be a pretty good clip if you had that during the regular season. Like to get it about a 25% clip if you can during the regular season, usually is excellent. The 20%, considering where the Capitals finished at about 17 during the regular season, certainly is not bad, and it was a big factor in their 2 victories in this series. Now Hunter comes out between Druce and Courtnall. Johansson and Hatcher work the points. Kelly Kissio will take this draw for the New York Rangers against Dale Hunter.
From the face-off, the puck comes back to Hatcher and is knocked away all the way out of the zone. And here is Calle Johansson leading it ahead now to Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall to center ice. Looks for Hunter. Now back to Hatcher again. He's across the line. Hatcher walking in, hooked on the play, and the Rangers take the puck. Out of the zone is James Patrick, way out to center, inside the Washington zone. Here's a wrist shot wide of Liu. Now chased behind the net. Kissio jammed up by Hunter on the play. John Druce trying to work it free from there, and now Johansson takes it behind the goal. It's cleared up the boards by Mullen. And out to center ice comes Druce. At the Ranger blue line, Mark Hardy takes over on defense for New York. Spins it out to center ice. Here's Hunter. He goes left side now for Courtnall. Courtnall across the blue line. Taken away by Kissio. And Kissio starts back again. The Ranger captain throwing it into the Washington zone. Both teams change up lines. And we have 16 seconds left now in the penalty call. Lead pass to Courtnall. Time for one more Capital rush on the power play. Right side to Bob Rouse. Rouse a slap shot. A save made by Richter. And the rebound into the corner as time runs out on the penalty. Here comes Paul Broughton to start to center ice. He gives it to Eriksson. Eriksson across the line. Fires wide of the Washington net. Moeller heads to the bench. We've got a penalty coming up here from Dennis Morel. And this is going to be a tripping penalty call coming here against Bob Rouse of Washington.
Hoping you'd say that.
Cold filtered. Never heat pasteurized. Miller Genuine Draft. For those who discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
Bob Rouse got his stick down, caught in the skates of Paul Broughton, tripped him up. He's in the box for that tripping call at 3:05. You see Broughton flying right there. Dennis Morel making the call. And the New York Ranger power play now with their first crack of the night.
New York 1 for 13 in the last 2 games against the Capitals with the extra man advantage. Not a very impressive mark. Ridley digs it free and clears it all the way down the ice. That kind of pressure all the way out at the blue line shows you why the Rangers haven't been successful with the extra man. Caps penalty killers rated right now at 82%, killing off 41 of 50 chances in the series against the Rangers and the Devils. Into the corner goes Mike Gartner. Tries to work it free from Langway. Back to the point. Here's a slap shot by Turcotte. And Miller gets it back to Langway. He clears it all the way down.
Well, that's been one of the reasons the Caps have been so successful lately. Great work against the New York Ranger point men. Those penalty-killing forwards coming out very aggressively, not letting the Ranger point men set up shop. And that's been a real key to the overall success of the Rangers during this entire play. And then the rest of it goes with those big hits by the defense.
Former Capital Mike Gartner crushed against the sideboards by Hatcher. The puck cleared to the point. Here's Turcotte a drive. That hit the post. At the right point, here's Nichols keeping it in. He fires wide of the Washington net. At the blue line, here's Turcotte again. Centering it. Nichols in close. Fires, and Liut to save, and he covers up. Millette and Druce in there, trying to keep apart two other skaters who got going after Liut had made the save.
Well, the Rangers did a nice job of keeping this puck in, and then a couple good shots. Mike Liut, glove save right there, covers up the rebound. Stevens objects to what he thought was a late attempt by Bernie Nichols to poke the puck free, but Darren Turcotte had a couple good opportunities. Drive that hit the post earlier. Caps are going to stay successful. They have got to continue off this very aggressive penalty-killing operation with the point men of the Rangers getting covered, and then the big penalty-killing defensemen that the Capitals always put out there, just throwing bodies around, letting the goaltender see those drives from the point and making sure none of the rebounds are loose for Ranger players to pick them up. That has been the success, but you look, the Rangers still the top-ranked power play of all the playoff teams. Just show you how good they were going before the Caps tightened up in these last two contests.
They put up such incredible numbers against the Islanders that despite the success the Caps have had recently, New York Rangers still rated #1 overall in the NHL playoff series. 25 seconds left, and then Rouse will be back on the ice. And at the blue line, here's a slap shot right at the whistle. Mullen let one go, but the play is offside. There'll be a face-off again out in neutral ice. No changes for Terry Murray's club, really, in the lineup, but Al, a couple of different players in there for Roger Nielsen's New York Rangers.
Well, we talked about Mark Hardy. Also added to the lineup is Kelly Miller's younger brother, Kevin. He replaces, in effect, Mark Jansen's, who in the 8 games of the playoffs the Rangers have played so far, 2 goals, 1 assist, 6 minutes in penalties. And Jeff Bloomberg, which is a bit of a surprise to me because I thought Bloomberg had been doing a pretty good job offensively, but apparently his inexperience to Roger Nielsen has been showing a bit, and he's been one of the guys the Capitals have been able to victimize in front. So that's the call to Mark Hardy, the veteran defenseman, to come back in.
Do you think Bloomberg's anti-violence statements might have had something to do with that decision if Nielsen was looking for a rough game in him?
Well, possibly, although Roger Nielsen says it doesn't make any difference to him as long as he's physical. He doesn't have to fight, just use his size and his body. And now Kelly Miller taking exception to a stick from Randy Moeller that came his way, as the Caps have successfully killed off that Ranger power play. So with 14:54 left to go in the first period, both sides have had a power play. Both sides have killed it off.
Announcing the Subaru Spring Training Program. Fans, now's the time to drive home a Subaru like the Legacy with a power-hitting 16-valve, 130-horsepower engine, the options of civilized 4-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes. You can save up to $1,500. Is out of here.
Factory to dealer cash incentives on selected models mean you could save up to $1,500 on a Subaru.
Face off over the line in the Washington end. John Tucker, who's out there between Tim Berglund and Bob Joyce. Erickson, Turcotte, and Broughton work the forward line for Roger Nielsen, although now he has quickly changed up. There's a very quick move to try and get the Nichols, Millette, and Gartner line out against Berglund, Joyce and Tucker, maybe trying to take advantage. But the speed edge would go to the New York Rangers in this matchup. Now we'll see if Terry Murray counters, as he will have the last line change. But one more time, Roger Nielsen changes up. He gets Gartner, Nichols, and Millette off. Erickson comes back out on the ice between Turcotte and Broughton. So Terry Murray just keeps that same group that he had out there to go against him initially. We'll see, though, if Roger Nielsen tries to continue to change on the fly to get the line matchups he wants.
Rangers get the draw, and here's Hardy with it over now to James Patrick, and it's cleared all the way down. This will be icing as Berglund goes back for it. And more line changes from the Rangers as the faceoff ships back to the New York zone. New York has 2 shots on goal. Washington with 1 shot on goal. Each team has hit a goal post already in this contest, and the game is just over 5 minutes old.
Remember back in '86, the Capitals had that 2-1 lead going into Game 4, and Capitals brimming with confidence, feeling that even though they lost Game 1 in overtime, they came back strongly in Game 2, won Game 3, and figured they were all set. But the New York Rangers had a different story. And that's why this Capital team has got to show that they are hungry, cannot be satisfied with the brilliant performance in Game 3. They've got to keep it going, knowing that it doesn't really make any difference if the Rangers come out victorious tonight.
At the point, here's Scott Stevens, a slap shot. That's blocked. Now Nick Kiprios turns. He fires, but it's deflected wide. Over to Rob Murray. Puts it behind the net for Alan May. Here's May, a wrist shot. Knocked down, and the Rangers again have possession. Long lead pass out to center, and Broughton couldn't handle it. The Capitals come back. Kiprios dumps it across the line, back inside the Rangers zone. Cleared off the glass in behind the net. They push and shove, and now Hardy and May give one another a shove, and get Kiprios in to throw a hit. Here's Kiprios with the puck, flips it on goal. Richter makes the save, and Rob Murray gets some rough treatment in front of that Ranger net from James Patrick, and now linesman Ron Finn has a hold of Murray, and as he takes a spill to the ice, is able to pull Murray out of there.
Well, this is something the New York Rangers have got to do. This Washington Capital team, particularly their third and fourth lines, really doing a job dominating the Rangers by just simply charging the front of the net. Here you've got the fourth line of Murray, Kiprios, and May. They were banging in front, and James Patrick has got to answer back, and he tried to do just that. Breaking the action, still no score in this hockey game.
Now how am I going to get there? It'll be great to see the guys again. I wonder if they'll all show. I just gotta get there. I'm trying to make my way back to the Brackendale River.
Friends deserve the best.
This is great. They all showed up.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
What took you so long?
I had a little car trouble.
Between friends, it's true blue, Labatt's Blue.
The Capitals have put 2 shots on goal. The Rangers have put 2 shots on goal. No score with 13:57 left. Ridley's line out there with Miller and Stephen Leach against the Nichols line with Gartner and Millette. Face-off to the front and left of goaltender Mike Richter.
Rangers get the draw. It comes back to Greshner behind the goal. He leads it ahead for Troy Millette, but Rouse keeps it inside the New York zone. Now here's Miller, alone to Ridley. He fires, and a save made by Richter. They jam up in behind the goal, and now Nichols in to throw a check. The puck comes over to Gartner. Here comes Mike Gartner. Up the boards, but Scott Stevens keeps it inside the line. Ridley behind the goal. Bumped on the play. Tries to center, but Millette's the only guy there, and the Rangers come back. Here comes Gartner to the blue line of Washington. Spins to try and get around Rouse. Rouse tackles him. He's going to get a penalty. Oh, and now Liut has been hit by Millette right in front of the Washington goal and knocked down. Millette is going to take a penalty for the Rangers as well. And Dennis Morrell is ordering both Rouse and Millette off the ice. So what could have been a New York power play will now be an even strength situation with Millette also having a seat.
Well, the speed of Mike Gartner, he steps around Rouse, and an obvious call there, but look at Millette. So interested in getting contact on Mike Liut He fails to realize his team is going to have a power play and a critical chance to open up the scoring in this game, and takes New York off that extra man chance.
For the Rangers, number 26, Toronto, 2 minutes for roughing. Washington, number 8, Bob Rouse, gets 2 minutes for holding. Time of the calls is 6:38. New York, 26, Troy Millette, 2 minutes roughing. Washington, number 8, Bob Rouse.
No power play here for either team. And the face-off will be to the right of Mike Liut.
Great save by Mike Richter, though, on Mike Ridley. The Capitals point men doing a nice job. They're pinching in at the right time. And that last time, Bob Rouse pinched in to knock the puck away from Millette. Kelly Miller came up with it, set up Mike Ridley. He tried to shoot high, hoping to catch Mike Richter going down. Where the Capitals beat Richter for the most part was high, with Richter trapped down on the ice. But he stood up very nicely and stopped the best scoring chance that either team has had so far in this hockey game.
Here's Hatcher taking it behind the Washington net, leads it up the boards. At the point, Turcotte keeps it in play. Here's Langway behind the goal to try and start out. Rod Langway passes ahead. Berglund out to center ice. John Tucker back in the lineup for Washington this evening and tries to take it. Now it's knocked away and cleared to the blue line and out to center ice. And the Caps again carry it out. Hatcher lofts it into the corner. And Rochefort up the boards to the blue line, kept in by Joyce. Those two collide again, but Ogrodnik leads it out to Kissio. Right side Mulder, long slap shot into the corner. Liut forced to make a play and hangs on at the side of the Washington net.
Well, right now, Terry Murray has had Tucker's line with Joyce and Berglund out there against the Kissio line with Ogrodnik and Mullen, and the Ridley line out there against the Nichols line. So I think he's trying to keep that Hunter line free a little bit to see if John Druce and Courtnall, who have been real hot, can get against one of either the third or fourth line of the New York Rangers. And that's what's happening right now is Chris King comes out there. Top placement with Millette. Nichols is out there with Gartner. Now here comes the Hunter line out there with Courtnall and Druce.
From the face-off, the puck goes to the corner. Here's Langway taking it behind the goal. He starts out to Druce on the right wing. Druce up to center ice. Lugs it back inside Ranger territory, and here's Patrick in to try and chase Courtnall. Now Courtnall throws it in behind the goal, and Turcotte is back to get it. Up the boards for Gartner. Langway comes roaring in and keeps the puck inside the Ranger zone. Over to Hunter. Dale Hunter chased by Hardy. The puck to the point. Hatcher winds, fires, save, rebound, loose puck. Fought for, and finally the Rangers' Erickson recovers and chases it into the corner. He's got Hunter right on him. Cleared up the boards now by Courtnall. Puts it back in the corner for Hunter. He tries to center, but James Patrick again takes charge and starts out. Scoreless game, 11:40 to go here in the first period. The puck cleared into the Washington zone, and this is Hatcher ahead to Druce. Outside the line to center ice. Now Rochefort, a long slap shot into the corner. Kiprios and Langway combined to throw a hit, but here's a steal and a save by Liut on the shot. Penalty coming up against Washington's John Druce, as he tied up Brian Mullen. And now some pushing and shoving out near the blue line may provide some more calls from referee Dennis Morrell. This game is scoreless here at the Capitol Center between Washington and New York.
When Kathy started rehearsing, she went through a lot of changes. She changed her moves, her look, her timings. But in 34 days, she never had to change the batteries in her cassette player. Now Kodak batteries have been improved, so you can depend on us to last longer.
Well, Druce, Hunter, and Erickson all in the penalty box. We're awaiting the calls now.
Number 20, Jan Erickson. 2 minutes for roughing. Washington, Number 19, John Druce.
There's
gets 2
John
minutes for
Druce
high
getting that
sticking.
stick in there on Mullen.
Number 32, Dale Hunter.
He
Gets 2
called
minutes
for the
roughing.
hooking penalty, so the Rangers will have a power play as roughing minors to Hunter and Erickson. But again, Mike, Roger Nielsen very quickly on the fly got Turcotte and Erickson out there when that Hunter-Courtnall-Druce line was out there. He is trying to get Erickson out there against Druce in the same fashion he got Erickson out there against Cicerelli at Madison Square Garden. So he's doing a lot of quick line changing on the fly.
Here's Kissio in the corner, brings it back to the point. Moeller a drive, that hit a skate and went wide. Now picked up by Wrigley. He clears to the blue line. It's kept in. And now Miller kicks it out of the zone to center. James Patrick backs it up for Kissio. Over to James Patrick. Mullen and Wrigley pushing one another, and the puck comes inside the zone offside as Patrick finally goes to take it. A minute 32 left to go on the extra Washington minor to Dale Hunter. Kissio is out there to work the draw now against Wrigley. Faceoff comes back to Bob Rouse, and here is Rouse leading it ahead off the right wing boards back inside the Ranger zone. New York's power play advantage continues, and here's Scott Stevens to steal at the blue line, but Ogrodnik is able to pick it up. To James Patrick, now to Ogrodnik, to the Washington line, right wing pass. This is Mullen dropping at the point. The Rangers had a change going, and Hardy, who had just jumped on replacing Patrick, had not gotten all the way to the blue line and couldn't make the play. 55 seconds left in the New York power play. Mark Hardy leads it across the line, and now Scott Stevens puts it off the boards. Millette keeps it in. Back to Ogrodnik. John Ogrodnik to the point. Over to Greshner, throws it behind the Washington goal. Kissio recovers it there. Bruce held up on the play. The puck cleared right into his skates. Rangers dig it out. Here's Millette to Ogrodnik, back to Hardy. Into the corner, right back out to Ogrodnik, but he shoots wide as Rouse got a stick on him. Now Millette, bumped by Bob Rouse. Puck to the corner, and here's Kissio alone in front. He fires, but some contact made with Liut there, and the net finally was moved. And there'll be a face-off in the Washington zone with only 13 seconds left until the Capitals are back at full strength.
Well, Kelly Kissio makes a quick pivot to get away from Rob Murray. You see Murray coming in. He had already gotten away from him. If you go back before that, Murray had a big sweep at it. Kissio, a very quick pivot, and bought himself that room. And then he just stepped out in front to challenge Liut, who stood his ground, gave him absolutely nothing to shoot at. Comes up with his fourth stop of the game. 13 seconds left in the penalty to the Capitals. They're calling it on, they're giving it to Dale Hunter. He should be the man to come out of the box first. With John Druce also in there. Druce was going to be the guy who got the original penalty for high sticking. And Hunter and Erickson then went off at the same time.
Puck cleared to the blue line, and now Huscroft leads it over to Millette. He fires. That hit Langway right in front. Langway to the corner. Centering pass. A shot and a goal. Millette firing from right in the slot area through a crowd. There was no way Liut could have seen it. Time of the goal, 10:41. 2 minutes exactly from the time that Hunter had gone off the ice, so it is not a power play goal.
Well, Rod Langway was down. He couldn't get that puck. Bernie Nichols kept it alive, and you see all that traffic in front. Troy Millette just stepping in and ripping it high over the shoulder of Mike Liut. With Rod Langway down, and the good job done in front, battling by Mike Gartner, tying up all those people, there's plenty of room for Millette to sneak in, and a huge goal, obviously, scored by the New York Rangers. With the history of this series, the Rangers haven't lost when they have scored the first goal of a playoff game, and the Capitals haven't won when the opposition has gotten on the board first.
Assist number 22, Mike Gardner. Assist to number 9, Bernie Nichols. Time of the goal, 10:41.
Nichols and Gartner assisting on Troy Millette's second goal of the playoffs. 10:41 the time of the goal. It is not a power play goal.
For all intents and purposes, it is, obviously, because Hunter nowhere near the action. And that New York Ranger team coming out very aggressively. Finally worked that puck and really got through that capital mound of defense that they've been throwing up in front of their goaltenders. And Troy Millette with a huge goal.
Here's Erickson to dump it back inside the Washington zone, and now Sheehy is in to pick it up. Neil Sheehy skates to center, over to Johansson, fires it back inside the Ranger zone. Tim Berglund in after it. Tucker jams up on the play, but here comes Chris King back to center ice. Throws to the Washington line. And that's taken now by Johansson up the boards for Tucker. Tucker starts back to the blue line of New York. Pushed off the puck, and Rupp returns the puck to the Washington zone. Calle Johansson off the boards for Berglund. Flips it off the glass back to center ice. Now over to Johansson and taken by Bob Joyce at the blue line. Here's Joyce. Held up on the play by Hardy, who has looked good, I think, every shift that he's been out there so far for New York. Puck cleared back inside the Ranger zone to Alan May, but it's offside across two lines. And the faceoff comes back to just inside the Washington blue line with 8:13 remaining in the first period.
Well, Mark Hardy has had plenty of ice time to start this game. Capitals need to make sure they get some hits on him to see what kind of condition his ankle and just his overall conditioning is. Has not played a single game in the playoffs and was out before that. Actually, I guess he did play in the very first game of that Islander series when he really did injure the ankle. So can't be in great overall physical shape, but right now he has been a pretty strong man back there, paired up a lot with James Patrick on defense, with Moeller and Rochefort now working as another combination. So you've got two very strong physical defense pairings for the New York Rangers, something they really didn't have.
Alan May to center ice. Flips it back inside the Ranger zone. Kyprios comes swooping in after it and bumps Moeller off the puck, but Gartner takes it. He's hit by May. Moeller and May jam up, and now it's cleared behind the net. Gartner speeds to the blue line. Out of center, Millette has it stolen by Kyprios, and he dumps it back inside the Ranger zone. Now Millette tripping up Rob Murray. There's going to be a penalty call here against the Rangers, and this is going to be high sticking. It will have Washington with a man advantage. Troy Millette skates off the ice.
Well, he's taken the Rangers off one power play. He has scored the only goal of the game. Now he puts the Capitals back in the power play. Quite an opening 13 minutes of this hockey game for Troy Millette.
12:24, the time of the penalty call to Millette for high sticking. Scott Stevens remains on the ice with Kevin Hatcher. Up front, it's Dale Hunter, John Druce, and Jeff Courtnall. The Ranger penalty killers are James Patrick with Mark Hardy and Jan Eriksson with Darren Turcotte.
On that last Capital power play, they obviously, with no shots on goal, had a very difficult time setting up in the Ranger zone. Once again, New York, when the Capitals dumped it in, got to that puck first. They did a good job of keeping everything bottled up for the Washington Capitals. So the key for the Capitals on this power play is just to establish a little bit of rhythm, get themselves in the zone, start moving the puck around and getting themselves some open shots. The Rangers were aggressive in their penalty killing, completely disrupted the Capital power play unit from the first time they were out on the ice.
Here's Hatcher at the right point, walking in, tries to center it. Now skates it back to the blue line. Loses control. Eriksson was all over him. And Hatcher has to skate back out of the zone and let everybody get outside Ranger ice. Now they send it back in. Hardy to the corner. There's it off the boards, and Druce keeps it in to Hunter. Back to the point, Stevens. Right side, Hatcher. His wrist shot kicked wide by Hardy. Hardy hit by Druce in the corner. Here's Courtnall with the puck. Rink wide, he goes to Scott Stevens. Back to Courtnall. And he looked for Hunter at the side of the net, but Hunter's stick was being held. Now here's Courtnall alone, and a shot stopped on the play by Richter as Jeff Courtnall had a wide open net and just could not get control of the puck to get the shot off. And Dale Hunter involved in there with the Rangers' James Patrick in the aftermath.
exactly the same situation. The Capitals scored a couple goals the other night. Richter down, a Capital forward with the puck, but this time Jeff Courtnall can't lift it up over Mike Richter. John Druce had Richter down a couple times the other night and was able to stop it, hold it for that split second to get it teed up perfectly and flip it high in the net. This time it looked like Courtnall had that same amount of time, but didn't get the shot up. And Richter comes up with a glorious save because of it. Here's that play where, this is another look at it, as Courtnall does a nice job of stopping it with his skates and getting it onto his forehand. And then there's Patrick clearing Dale Hunter out.
Needed a 9-iron, not a 7. Top luck. He tried that quick snapshot. Was hoping to get enough lift on it, but Richter was able to make the save.
Capitals still, though, with 1:14 on the high sticking penalty to Troy Millette. Joyce, Wrigley, Leach work the forward line. And Stevens and Hatcher remain. Now, apparently Ron Finn coming over to get some repairs, possibly on the, looks like Stan Wong is working on his nose. Last night in St. Louis, Dan Shakty, the linesman, got whacked with a clearing attempt on his cheek. Opened it up. They had to put a couple butterfly Band-Aids on it to stop the bleeding for a moment. So Ron Finn, see the blood on the towel he's got. I think that all came in that trying to break up that altercation, and see Dale Hunter, who's right in the middle of it, getting some words in.
If it's anything to do with Ron Finn's nose, I'm sure Hunter is telling him that if he'd keep that big nose out of the way, he wouldn't get it hit. A 1-0 game. The Rangers have the lead. 6:50 to go here in the first period. 1:10 left in the Millette penalty, and the Rangers clear it all the way down the ice. Scott Stevens starts the rush. Up to Hatcher, and he dumps it back inside the line. Rochefort to the corner. He and Steve Leach collide. The puck's loose behind the net. Here's Bob Joyce trying to dig it out. Now Leach has it. He has it taken away by Moeller. Joyce over to help him out. The puck rolls to the blue line. Here's Hatcher to keep it in. A bouncing shot. Deflected just wide by Richter. Over to the corner now, and Bob Joyce. 30 seconds left on the power play. Scott Stevens a shot. That hit somebody right in front of the net and went wide. And the Rangers again dump it all the way down the ice to ease the pressure. Scott Stevens with time for one more rush. Leads a pass ahead to Courtnall. It gets by him, and Hardy again whistles it back to the Washington zone. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Only 5 seconds left in the Millette penalty. Hatcher to the line, gets inside the Ranger zone. New York is at full strength again. And Millette out of the box. Stays on the ice. Here comes Druce. In across the blue line. Held up by Erickson on the play. Now Broughton to the point. Kept in. Over to Rouse. Winds, fires, deflected. Rebound, shot. Oh, Richter with a big save. He was down and had that stick planted right on the ice to make the stop. Johansson back out to Courtnall. To Calle Johansson in the Washington zone. Over to Bob Rouse. 5 minutes to go. First period. Rangers leading 1-0 on the second goal of the playoffs for Troy Millette. Jan Eriksson starts back now. Up to Millette. Fakes at the blue line. Over to Lindy Ruff. He dumps it into the corner. Johansson takes his man. Gartner clears the puck to the point. Here's Moeller winding. He fires. Hunter makes the stop and brings it ahead for Druce. 3-on-2 break. Right side pass into the skates of Courtnall. And Courtnall offside as he handles the puck in the Ranger zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to help support the Caps #1 band, Jay Slotkin. Running in Jay's Run this Sunday, April 29th. Starts at 9:30 in the morning at Churchill High School.
A lot of ice time those last minute and a half or so for Jeff Courtnall out there at the end of the power play. Then at regular strength there. John Druce, though, had a good scoring opportunity for the Capitals. he got himself away from veteran Ron Gresher. Wheeled around and hard shot in, but once again, Mike Richter standing his ground, giving the Caps much of an opening to shoot. And here's the look at John Druce's opportunity. You see how Druce gets away there from that check of Ron Gresher. Once again, out there to the edge of that semicircle crease is Mike Richter standing, and we tell you, Mike Richter squares himself up to the shooter as well as any goaltender in hockey, and his quickness really adds to his game. So he's very good in that first shot, and also because of his quickness and his ability to square, is dynamite on those rebounds when he stays on his feet. He got into trouble the other night when he was down on the ice.
No icing called here. Several Caps have had chances, and it's like they're just waiting for one of them to break through and get the floodgates open. Here's Ogrodnik, hooked off the play by Sheehy. Nice defensive move there without taking a penalty. Kyprios backs it up for Langway. He starts it out to center ice, and Mullen drives it right back in. Sheehy over to Langway, now to Rob Murray. Dumps it back inside the Ranger zone. Hit by a high New York stick, and as Alan May is hit on the play, it went into rough skates, so on the high sticking call on the puck, the whistle blows. Let's check in downstairs right now with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. On our Washington Post scoreboard, the Montreal Canadiens facing elimination at the Forum in Montreal, trailing 3-0. Canadiens first on the scoreboard tonight, leading 1-0 at the fabled Forum. Oakland has taken an early 1-0 lead on the Orioles, last night winning 7-1. They're in the second inning. We've got baseball for you right here on Home Team Sports tomorrow night, the third and final game of that 3-game series. We'll get things underway with the Orioles report and Tom Davis at 7 o'clock. Right now, back upstairs to Mike Bournes and Alex Oakley. Okay, thank you, Jeff. 3 minutes, 40 seconds left to go in the first period. Caps now with this face-off inside the New York end. Mike Ridley out there to take this draw against Bernie Nichols.
Face-off comes back to Rouse at the blue line. He's bumped on the play. The puck goes to the corner, and the Rangers quickly clear it out. Off Gartner's stick, it jumps to center ice. Steve Leach backs up, loses it, and Millette offside. A break there for Washington as Leach's play to try and move it up ice got caught in the skates of Millette.
Well, there's no question the Rangers are doing a lot of the things necessary to get back in this series. They've been a much more aggressive team tonight than they were in games 2 and games 3. And one of the areas you can see it right there is some of that pressure on the Washington puck carrier. That time Stephen Leach coming up with the puck, but he turns, looks over his shoulder, and he's got people bearing down on him. Tries to make that pass then, and the Capitals just get a little bit of a break there. But the Rangers making it much more difficult for the Capitals. Right there, 2 good strong hits, one by Millette, the other by Gartner.
Here's Ridley, right wing side. Kelly Miller. Miller, a wrist shot, stopped by Richter. The puck comes loose on the rebound. Back to Rouse at the right point. Tries to fire, it's blocked, now walks in again. Dekes his way in front, and held up on the play as the puck shot wide. We have a penalty call coming up. This will be against New York as the puck is cleared into the crowd. Leach was held in behind the net, and Dennis Morrell has the right arm raised. And I believe this to be a New York Ranger penalty call coming at 17:06 of the first period for cross-checking, and headed off the ice is Mike Gartner.
Well, not only was Leach held, he is crushed on that net. Look as he comes in with that whack. Look at the collision there. 2 Capitals, and you see how high Mark Hardy comes up in on him. The Rangers keep Miller and Leach down to the ice. The cross-checking call is going to come to Mike Gartner, but the Caps do keep it alive. A couple whacks at it with a shot coming in from the point, then Mike Ridley being taken down there. And I guess that's what's going to qualify as the cross-checking penalty, as Gartner's in the box. Another crack for the Capitals to get on the board with 2:54 left in the first period.
Hunter discussing plans with Hatcher for the faceoff as he leans in here to oppose Darren Turcotte. Hunter wins the draw. Back to Hatcher. Walks in alone, is hooked on the play, and has the puck taken away, and Turcotte clears it all the way down the ice.
Rangers much better getting some pressure on the Capital point men, but on that last Capital power play, they were able to get some shots on goal from that point where the Washington Capitals, and that has been a big factor. They just continue to need to get those drives on the way their forwards are going to the front of the net. Those Capital point men can get the shots on Mike Richter. These rebounds have been coming out. This offside pass will bring the faceoff into the Washington end.
Druce on the right, Courtnall on the left, Hunter at center. Erickson and Turcotte up front. Moeller and Rochefort on the back line for the Rangers. Hatcher and Stevens out there defensively for Washington. Hatcher caught in his own zone, leads a pass all the way out to center. And Moeller takes over. Hunter has it knocked away, and Courtnall again backs up to take it. Lead pass right side. Druce to the blue line for Courtnall. Throws it into the corner. Erickson turns and whips it all the way down the ice.
Rangers also doing a good job of holding up the Capital forecheckers once the Washington power play unit dumps it in, giving the defense time to play it for New York.
Here's Courtnall across the line. Leads it right in front, and Leach came flashing down the slot, but couldn't get a stick on it. Leach working on James Patrick behind the goal. Bob Joyce over to get it. Leach's stick taken away, and Mullen finally clears it all the way down the ice. Liut holds it up behind the net. 1-0 score. Rangers have the lead. 1:20 to go, first period. In 25 seconds, New York's Mike Gartner will come back. Here comes Ridley across the line on the power play. Centers it. Moeller had the Capitals' Bob Joyce tied up. Now here's Leach to try and work it out of the corner. Joyce kicks it along the baseboard. Down in behind the goal. Cleared back over to Steve Leach. Leach trying to center off a skate. It comes back to Johansson. Into the corner for Ridley. Right in front of the net. And Hardy swoops in and grabs it. He starts back. Gartner's out of the box. The Rangers at full strength. An offside called. Kelly Kissio carrying across the blue line, then dropping a pass that went out of the zone.
I'd say this first period really belongs to the New York Ranger defense corps. The Capitals working, I think, as hard as they did in Game 3 to get to the front of the net, but they're not having the same success because they're meeting a very determined and very angry New York Ranger defense group. Keeping the Capitals pretty much at bay. That last power play, a good example. Some chances, some attempts to center the puck to try and get people loose, but they were all tied up.
I wouldn't dispute the Capitals' work ethic in this contest at all, Al, but I don't believe they're moving the puck nearly as well as they did in Game 3. And the times that they have penetrated and got in close, Richter has made the difference. Puck cleared in behind the net, and here's Sheehy to chase it. He's bumped hard on the play by Gartner. Some paybacks going on there, and here's Erickson trying to center, throws it wide behind the goal. Now Nichols hit on the play. And Tucker clears it out of the zone to center ice. Rochefort pumping it back inside the Washington zone. Langway after it. Just 18 seconds to play in the period. Langway clears it ahead for Berglund at center. Slapped by Erickson back into the corner. Here's Miller. Time running out in the period. Taken by Gartner. Tries to walk in for a scoring shot and doesn't even get a pass away as time runs out in the period. Washington out shooting the New York Rangers 8 shots to 6 during the first period of play, but the lone goal-scoring play of the period belonging to Troy Millette, his second of the playoff series, and the Rangers lead the Capitals 1-0 after 1 period. More live exclusive hockey coverage comes your way after these messages right here on the Home Team Sports Television Network.